Welcome back. Well, the public may now get a chance to weigh in on the inquiry by Parliament into the fitness of the Public Protector to hold office. Parliament's legal advisers have told the multi-party ad hoc committee investigating that this could only be done with evidence that directly deals with the claims brought against the head of the Public Protector's office. The committee was being briefed on the legal framework around what it needs to do over the next few months. Our reporter, Athi Mtongana, following proceedings, she joins us now from Parliament. Athi, good afternoon to you. There's a lot of detail here. How's this process going to work?
A very good afternoon to you, Stephen. A very extensive briefing by Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Services Office, which outlines some of the important work that this committee will have to undertake in the next few months. They, on the spot, immediately started out by outlining the legal framework of a removal of a head of a Chapter 9 institution as per the Constitution, and also according to the motion that has been presented before the ad hoc committee, which is obviously tasked with dealing with the Section 194 inquiry against the Public Protector. And in that particular motion that this ad hoc committee will have to deal with is specifically looking at misconduct and incompetence following that report by the independent panel, which found that there is enough prima facie evidence of incompetence against the current sitting Public Protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane. They also mentioned how the particular removal process of a head of a Chapter 9 institution pertaining to the Public Protector and the Auditor General has a higher threshold than other heads of a Chapter 9 institution, and therefore would also need the weight and the majority vote of a committee by the National Assembly, as well as a 2/3 majority vote by members of the National Assembly. So she also outlined Fatima Abraham, that is, she's part of Parliament's legal advising committee or legal advising team. She highlighted how it is important for this particular committee to look at not just looking at whether the Public Protector is guilty or not. She says that's not their mandate, that's not their oversight duty, but what they are tasked to do as a multi-party ad hoc committee. Remember that there are members from different political parties, parties which are smaller and bigger in Parliament, all have a role in these discussions. And she mentioned how they are not just going to look at whether the Public Protector is guilty or not, but they have to look at enough evidence to look at whether there are fair grounds to remove her from office. There was also a question around whether the pending court proceedings at the Western Cape High Court have any influence on what this committee will be doing in the next few months. But Fatima was quick to respond, because currently, right now, the 3 judges that were hearing Busisiwe Mkhwebane's bid to have this entire process thrown off, she had applied before the Western Cape High Court, Stephen, for 2 matters. She has a Part A of her application at the Western Cape High Court, and Part B, which was also challenging the constitutionality of the rules that this committee will be looking at in terms of these removal proceedings. And Parliament's legal committee was saying that, look, the current decision or the pending decision by the courts will not impact the work. If there are any changes that the courts make, and as far as the rules are concerned, then Parliament, particularly this ad hoc committee, would be able to try and amend those rules. She also mentioned the importance of public participation, and that if members of the public are interested in weighing in on this particular process, that have to do so and be limited around the charges that are particularly pertaining to the Public Protector. And let's listen in on what she had to say.
It falls to the committee to determine the manner in which it will facilitate public participation. This may include written participation, oral submissions by invitation, or a combination of those 2. Our advice, Chair, and this again is our advice, that the committee is at liberty to decide what it feels best, is that the call for submissions can take the form of an invitation on Parliament's various social media platforms and be limited in terms of scope, as I've suggested earlier. The matter has gained increasing traction in the media and is already receiving wide coverage, and a period of about 3 weeks would be sufficient in our view. The second aspect of public participation speaks to the openness of meetings. The default position in Parliament is that all meetings are conducted in open unless there's compelling reasons for closure of a meeting, and those reasons outweigh the public interest in the matter. So, of course, the de facto position must be that all of these meetings are open, and we also have the view that all of the meetings should be streamed on the YouTube channel to ensure that the public is able to follow this very important process.
Athi, if we have public participation in the process, it makes it more transparent, it might make it more democratic. It does also make it a lot longer. Some of the people who are critical of the Public Protector on this committee might find that quite frustrating.
Yes, it's going to be a very long process, Stephen. In fact, the members of the committee decided that they would not just be doing it themselves as the committee that is tasked to overseeing this process, but they'd also allow internal and external expertise to be part of this process so that they look at it extensively. It will obviously mean that it will take longer. For instance, they were looking at the draft program for this particular committee, which suggests that by October they would have this report ready, and then it would be given to the Public Protector, and she would be given 30 days to go through it. And then Parliament also has a process where they'd have to go into recess during that period after October, which means that potentially it could go up to January 2022.
That's going to take a long time. We're going to follow that process very closely. Athi Mtongana, outside Parliament for you this afternoon. Thanks very much indeed. Do appreciate the update.